Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Andy Walker and I want to show you how to create a painting using the Magic Grid system that's been developed by Kevin Macpherson. I've been using this for a while now and my paintings have changed and hopefully improved as I've been using this system. So I want to show you how to create a painting from a grid in this video. So let's dive in and take a look. So here's the photo we're going to be working from of this majestic tree in the sunshine, and I'm going to be painting it with Cobra water mixable oils, just in three colours, three primaries: cobalt blue, Pyrrole red light and permanent yellow medium, along with titanium white. So we get a good colour harmony just from those three primaries. There's my grid that I've drawn up. You can find out details of how to do this from my blog post in the description below. But we're going to use this as a way of drawing in our tree and of creating lines of continuance, lines that draw the eye, a sort of underlying structure which is really strong within the picture. So I'm using some of the lines that I've got here and seeing which ones of them sort of match up with some of the boughs of the tree, and just trying to use the grid I've got either with the lines that are there or sometimes going corner to corner across some of the little shapes that are in the grid, and just trying to plot out where the tree goes. And there's this long almost vertical of the main trunk there, and there's a line on my grid that I can use for that, and the pathway down below will go on these lines. Now every time you draw a grid they come out differently, but it's amazing how the grid just kind of fits with the picture you have in front of you, and you'll find all sorts of things lining up, and as you draw it in and then you fill in the colours using the grid, you find there's this deep structure really which comes within the painting, a very good composition which develops within the picture, because I think your eyes are just joining up the dots really, even though you won't see the grid in the finished picture, because the major lines of your composition are created by the grid and everything in the grid connects to everything else. Then that gives you a very good underlying structure. So I'm just continuing here just to use the lines on the grid as much as I can to draw in the shapes that I'm seeing here. So there's this bush around here, and that can just go on some of those lines that are there. It does mean sometimes that you have to change the view in front of you a little bit just to fit, but that's fine. We're making a painting, we're not taking a photograph. There's a line that goes up across here. You just see how those pencil lines on the grid are really interacting with the photograph. They're really enabling me to plot out very distinctly what's there. So put the rest of that trunk in up there. Can begin to go off grid now, as most of it is sort of plotted in. Some of the main lines are there. I can now begin to sort of draw in some of the other bits and pieces which I can see from the photograph. Just looking at the photograph, putting in some of those trunks and boughs and branches, the main ones that are there, having formed the construction using the grid lines. And this should provide not only a good composition, but a very strong and subtle way for the viewer to look around your painting, as well as the eye travels along sort of unseen lines which are undergirding the final painting. So I just want to block in here a little bit of the darker areas just to remind myself where they are. When you get branches like this all over the place, it's sometimes a little tricky to remember where you are in the painting. So I've just blocked in some of these darker areas, and I want to come in with the local colour on top And I'm painting in some of these shapes. You can see the little sort of jigsaw puzzle shapes that have been created by the lines. I just want to fill these in, and I'm going to fill them in using slightly different shades of the same colours. So we're looking at a dark green here for the shadow on the bush, but I'm just altering it and changing it every time I fill in a shape. Just a little bit more yellow here, a little bit more blue there, maybe a touch more red to neutralise it in another one. But almost every little shape that I'm filling in here, I'm making a change. And what that does is to bring a sparkle to the painting. When you paint like this, it actually, instead of just painting the whole thing in one colour, by using slightly different colours and even different brush strokes going in different directions, what that does is to bring a bit of life and energy to the painting. So it's a little harder to see in the dark areas, but you'll see this when we come on in a moment to paint some of the lighter areas. You'll see it a bit clearer, how it just brings a freshness and a vitality to the painting. So I'll just come in over here now and just paint in some of these greens that are over here as well. Again, every time I come to a line, every time I come out of one shape and into the next one, I'm changing brush strokes or changing colour. And sometimes if you've got a big area, then I'm doing that 2 or 3 times within each jigsaw puzzle piece, which is drawn out for me with the pencil lines. Just continuing here, just putting in these greens. Well, I've got green mixed up on the palette, might as well use it. So I'm basically using the same brush and just changing the colour that's on it the whole time as I go through. And the lines help you to remember to do that. It's so easy when we're painting to get carried away and just to put down one colour and keep on going. But because of the lines, you're reminded the whole time to make the changes, to change it up, to add more blue here, to add more yellow there, to lighten it, to darken it, to make the changes as you go along. So coming on now, filling in the rest of the tree in exactly the same way, just painting in areas. Every time there's a line and it goes into a different jigsaw puzzle piece, then just change the colour. Doing the same with the sky, coming in and just building up the painting bit by bit, but with lots of changes of brush strokes and colour and tonal value, which will give energy and vibrancy and life to the painting. It will also help to create those underlying structures, those underlying lines, which it'll be very hard to see them consciously, but I think subconsciously your mind picks up that there are lines and directional lines and marks going on, which create a very strong composition. So the fine brush now just coming to the finishing off stages, really putting in some of the little twigs and things. Now some of these are going on to some of the pencil lines. You can just see vaguely some of them underneath, but the paint's fairly thick, so most of them are covered up. But just putting in some of these little lines, just a few small branches where I think the tree needs them, and then we're pretty well done. But I hope you can see from this very quick demo just how this underlying structure can really help us to create interesting and strong paintings. And here's the finished painting for this one, and I'll just show you 1 or 2 others that I've done using the same method. So I hope that's encouraging for you. Have a go, check out my blog, and you'll see the posts there which describe how to make the grid, or check out Kevin Macpherson's website and you can join one of his courses to find out more about it in real depth.